Right now, your mind is running in circles, analyzing every little detail, every last conversation, every possible reason why he's not reaching out. You wake up thinking about it. You go to bed wondering if today will be the day he breaks the silence. You check your phone 100 times, hoping for a message that never comes. And with every passing day, the silence starts to feel heavier, like it's crushing you. But let me tell you something powerful. This is not about him. It never was. It's about where your focus is. Your energy is one of the most valuable things you own. It fuels your emotions, your actions, and ultimately your entire life. The problem is when you pour all of your energy into someone who isn't even engaging with you, you are giving away your power for free. Think about that. You are handing over control of your happiness, your peace, your confidence to someone who isn't even speaking to you. That's not strength, that's self-abandonment. And you didn't come this far in life just to let someone else dictate how you feel about yourself. So let's take all that energy, all that emotion, all that overthinking, and redirect it where it belongs, back to you. Imagine for a second that you stopped worrying about whether he was thinking about you, and instead you started thinking about what you could do to make yourself stronger, happier, and more powerful. Imagine if, instead of checking your phone every hour, you were checking your goals. Instead of wondering when he'll text, you are wondering how you can improve, how you can grow, how you can elevate your life to a level where you never have to question your worth again. Because that's what this is really about, your worth. Right now, your mind is trapped in this cycle of, if he reaches out, it means I matter. If he doesn't, maybe I never did. But that is a complete lie. Your value does not decrease because someone fails to acknowledge it. Your worth is not defined by the presence or absence of one person in your life. The only thing that determines your worth is how you see yourself, how you treat yourself, and what you allow into your life. When your focus is locked on someone else, you start living reactively. You let their actions dictate your emotions. If they reach out, you feel high. If they don't, you feel low. But what if you could shift that? What if you could create an internal foundation so strong that no matter what someone else does, it doesn't shake you? That is the power of focusing on yourself. It's not just about distraction. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about reclaiming the attention, the love, and the energy that you've been so quick to give away. Every minute you spend analyzing someone else's behavior is a minute you are stealing from your own growth. Every second you spend waiting for them is a second you are postponing your own evolution. And life is too damn short for that. Start small, shift your routine. If your mornings start with checking your phone for messages, change that. Wake up and check in with yourself first. Ask yourself, what do I need today? How do I want to feel? What can I do to make myself stronger? Start moving your body, reading, working on a skill, planning your next step in life. Pour into yourself the way you were pouring into them. Because here's the truth. If you keep living in reaction to someone else's actions, you will always be at their mercy. But the moment you take all of that attention and energy and place it on yourself, you become untouchable. You stop waiting, you stop hoping, you start becoming. And when you become the best version of yourself, the game changes entirely. Right now, you're feeling this deep sense of frustration, confusion, and maybe even a little bit of anger. You're stuck in this place where you're analyzing everything, trying to figure out what went wrong, what you could have done differently, or what you need to do to change the situation. You might be thinking, if I just say the right thing, maybe he'll come back. If I just wait a little longer, maybe he'll break the silence. If I just do something different, maybe he'll realize what he's missing. But let's take a step back for a moment. There's a hard truth that you need to hear. You cannot control other people. You can't control what he thinks, what he feels, or what actions he decides to take. And the more you try to, the more powerless you feel. That's where the real suffering comes from, not from the situation itself, but from the fact that you're trying to force an outcome that is completely outside of your hands. Think about how much energy you've already spent trying to figure him out. How many times have you replayed the past in your head, searching for answers? How many hours have you lost obsessing over why he hasn't called, whether he's thinking about you or what he might be doing? That energy is draining you. It's keeping you stuck in a place of frustration when you could be using it to move forward. Here's what you need to understand. Real power comes from controlling what is within your reach and letting go of what isn't. Right now, you don't get to decide whether he texts you or not. You don't get to decide whether he's sitting there missing you or whether he's completely moved on. But you do get to decide how you respond. You do get to decide where you put your focus. You do get to decide how you show up for yourself in this moment. When you cling to things you can't control, you create unnecessary suffering. It's like holding onto a rope that's burning your hands but refusing to let go because you think that maybe, just maybe, if you hold on long enough, things will change. But what's actually happening? The longer you grip that rope, the more pain you cause yourself. The answer isn't to keep holding on. The answer is to release it. Letting go of control doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're giving up. It simply means you are choosing peace over chaos. It means you are deciding to stop placing your happiness in someone else's hands. It means you recognize that no amount of overthinking, stressing, or strategizing is going to make someone else act the way you want them to. So what can you control? You can control your mindset. You can control your habits. You can control the way you speak to yourself. You can control what you choose to believe about this situation. Do you believe this is the end of the world, or do you believe this is an opportunity for growth? Do you believe you're powerless in this situation, or do you believe you have the strength to turn this into something that serves you? You get to decide that. If he's doing no contact, that's his choice. Maybe he needs space. Maybe he's trying to move on. Maybe he's testing the waters to see if you'll chase him. Whatever his reason is, it's not your job to figure it out. Your job is to focus on yourself. The moment you stop trying to control what's outside of you and start focusing on what's within you, something incredible happens. You feel free. You stop obsessing. You stop waiting. You stop feeling like your life is on pause. Because the truth is, your life isn't on hold, it's happening right now. And you get to decide how you live it. Right now, there's a battle going on inside of you. Part of you wants to stay strong, maintain your silence, and respect the no contact period. But another part of you is restless, fighting the urge to break it, to send a message, to check in, to do something that will get a reaction. Because deep down, you think that if you can just reach out the right way, say the right thing, or show that you still care, maybe you can shift the situation in your favor. But let me tell you something. Chasing is the fastest way to lose yourself. When you chase, you put yourself in a position of weakness. You place all of your worth, all of your confidence, and all of your happiness in someone else's hands. You start playing a game that you will never win because the more you chase, the more power you give away. And the more power you give away, the less valuable you appear, not just to them, but to yourself. Instead of chasing, it's time to elevate. Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone who was truly confident, truly successful, truly magnetic, running after someone who wasn't giving them the time of day? Never. Because people who value themselves don't beg for attention. They don't sit around waiting for someone to recognize their worth. They become so powerful, so undeniable, that people can't help but notice. The reality is, attraction doesn't grow from desperation. It doesn't grow from pleading, convincing, or proving your worth to someone who isn't seeing it. Attraction grows from distance. It grows when you step back, focus on yourself, and level up so much that the dynamic between you and this person completely shifts. Right now you might be thinking, but what if he forgets about me? What if he moves on? That fear is exactly what keeps people stuck in cycles of chasing. But let me tell you something powerful. If someone can forget you just because you stopped chasing them, they were never truly yours to begin with. Real connections don't fade just because you took a step back. And the only way you'll ever know if what you had was real is by giving it space. This is your opportunity to transform, to elevate yourself in a way that makes you unrecognizable. Not for him, not to make him miss you, but for you. Because the moment you start investing in yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, you stop worrying about whether or not someone is thinking about you. Elevating yourself means shifting your focus from getting to becoming. It means stepping into the version of yourself that doesn't chase, that doesn't beg, that doesn't need external validation to feel whole. It means pouring all of the energy you would have spent worrying about him into building something powerful for yourself. So ask yourself this: if you weren't consumed by this situation, what would you be doing right now? Would you be hitting the gym? Would you be working on a passion project? Would you be out experiencing life instead of sitting around waiting? That's what elevation looks like. It's shifting from a mindset of lack to a mindset of abundance. It's realizing that you don't need to chase because you are already enough. And here's what happens when you do this. When you elevate instead of chase, people take notice. They feel the shift. They sense that you are no longer waiting, no longer available in the way you once were. And that's when everything changes. Because when you stop giving someone easy access to your energy, they start to wonder where it went. When you stop chasing, they start to feel the distance. And in that space, in that silence, they become the one who has to question, who has to think, who has to wonder. That's the power of elevation. That's the power of shifting from pursuer to prize. Right now, you're in a situation where someone has pulled away. He's gone silent. He's not reaching out. And whether he's doing no contact intentionally or just naturally drifting, you feel it. You feel the absence. You feel the void where there used to be conversations, attention, and connection. And it hurts. But the real reason it hurts so much isn't just because he's not talking to you. It's because somewhere deep inside, you've started to question yourself. Was I not good enough? Did I do something wrong? Am I not worth fighting for? And these thoughts, they are the real problem. Because when you allow someone's absence to make you doubt your worth, you're handing over something priceless. Your value, your confidence, and your self-respect. You are allowing someone else's actions to dictate how you see yourself. But let me tell you something. Your worth is not up for debate. It is not dependent on who chooses to acknowledge it. It does not shrink or disappear just because someone fails to see it. Right now, you need to make a choice. Are you going to let this situation define how you feel about yourself, or are you going to reclaim your value, stand in your power, and recognize that nothing about you has changed just because one person isn't showing up the way you expected? Reclaiming your value starts with remembering who you are. Before this person entered your life, you had dreams, you had confidence, you had a life that didn't revolve around whether someone texted you back. But somewhere along the way, you got so caught up in the connection that you started to measure your worth based on how much attention you were getting. That ends today. It's time to shift your mindset. Instead of thinking, why isn't he choosing me? Start thinking, is this situation even worthy of me? Instead of wondering, why isn't he making an effort? Start asking, why am I entertaining someone who doesn't recognize my value? This small shift changes everything. Because when you stop acting like someone who needs to be chosen and start acting like someone who is already valuable, your entire energy transforms. Look around at the strongest, most successful, most confident people you know. Do they beg for attention? Do they sit around overanalyzing someone's lack of effort? No. They walk with a presence that says, I know my worth, and I don't need to convince anyone of it. And that is exactly the energy you need to step into. This is not about ego. It's not about acting like you don't care or pretending to be cold. It's about deeply understanding that you bring something incredible to the table and you will no longer settle for situations that make you feel otherwise. Reclaiming your value means making decisions that reflect your worth. It means not reaching out just because you're feeling insecure for a moment. It means not lowering your standards just because you're afraid of losing someone. It means refusing to chase someone who isn't showing up for you. Because the truth is, if someone truly values you, they will not put you in a position where you have to question it. So instead of focusing on whether he will come back, focus on what you need to do to show up as your best self. Rebuild your confidence, set new goals, surround yourself with people who uplift you, step into spaces that remind you of your power. Because the moment you start treating yourself like the valuable person you are, everything else, your relationships, your energy, your entire life will begin to reflect that same level of value back to you.